Welcome to Bible Answers Now. Have you ever found yourself in a moment when you feel overwhelmed, exhausted, or just not sure where to turn for strength? We all experience times when life feels heavy, when the challenges seem insurmountable, and when the weight of our burdens is more than we can carry on our own. In those moments, the Bible provides us with words of encouragement and power, offering divine strength that transcends any human effort. Today, we're diving into some of the most comforting and empowering Bible verses for strength. Verses that remind us that we don't walk alone, that God Himself is our refuge and source of unshakable strength. Let's begin with one of the most well-known verses found in Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Paul wrote these words while in prison facing extreme hardship and yet fully confident in God's provision. This verse doesn't just speak about physical strength, but about inner fortitude, endurance, and the power of Christ working within us. No matter what you're facing, whether it's a personal struggle, a crisis of faith, or the daily grind, this verse assures us that Christ enables us to persevere. In our own human weakness, we can lean into the power of Christ and trust that He equips us to face every obstacle. Now, turning to Isaiah 40:29-31, we read, He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. These words were written by the prophet Isaiah during a time when Israel was facing exile and desolation. This passage speaks of a strength that is not our own, an inexhaustible strength that God provides to those who place their hope in Him. Notice the promise of renewed strength. It's not just a fleeting burst of energy, but a continual, sustaining power that enables us to keep going even when we feel like we can't take another step. This is the kind of strength that comes when we trust in God's goodness, His faithfulness, and His eternal purpose. In 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9, the Apostle Paul shares a profound lesson on strength. But he said to me, My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Paul is reflecting on his own struggles, his thorn in the flesh, and how he learned that God's strength shines brightest when we are at our weakest. This verse teaches us that in moments of vulnerability, God's grace is not only sufficient, but is the very source of our strength. When we let go of our own self-sufficiency and admit our weakness, we make room for God's power to work in us and through us in profound ways. This doesn't mean we're called to be passive, but that we rely on God's strength rather than our own, trusting that His grace empowers us. Another powerful verse is found in Psalm 46:1. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. This short but profound verse reminds us that God is not distant, but ever-present, near to us in our times of trouble. The word refuge here conveys the image of a safe place, a stronghold, a shelter from the storm. No matter what chaos or difficulty surrounds us, we can find peace and strength in God's protection. It's a comforting thought, knowing that the Creator of the universe is with us in our most difficult moments, offering us His strength to endure. Let's also consider Deuteronomy 31:6, which offers a reminder of God's unshakable presence. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. This verse comes at a pivotal moment in Israel's history, as Moses prepares to hand over leadership to Joshua. The Israelites are facing an uncertain future, filled with battles and challenges. Yet God's promise to Joshua and to all believers is clear. He will be with us every step of the way. This verse is a call to courage, rooted not in our own abilities, but in the certainty that God Himself is walking beside us. It encourages us to face our fears head-on because we are never alone. In the Old Testament, we also find encouragement in Nehemiah 8, verse 10. Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. These words are spoken to the Israelites as they are reestablishing themselves in the land after returning from exile. People have been reading the law of Moses and are convicted of their sins. But the message here is one of joy, not guilt. The strength that comes from the Lord isn't just physical or mental. It's emotional and spiritual. It's the joy that springs from knowing that God is faithful, that He redeems and restores, and that His presence gives us the strength to rise above our circumstances. Finally, we turn to one of the most personal and intimate invitations for strength in Matthew 11:28-30, where Jesus speaks these words, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." These words of Jesus are an invitation to lay down our heavy burdens and find true rest in Him. Jesus doesn't promise to take away all our challenges, but He does promise to give us the strength to carry them with Him. His yoke is easy, meaning that when we walk with Him, He shares the load. The rest He offers isn't just physical, but a deep, soul-refreshing peace that strengthens us in ways that the world cannot provide. As we reflect on these verses, we see a beautiful pattern emerging. Strength doesn't come from our own effort, but from placing our trust in God, from recognizing His presence, and from relying on His grace. Whether it's physical strength to endure, emotional strength to hope, or spiritual strength to trust, God is our ultimate source. What's your favorite verse for comfort? Share it in the comments below. Let's encourage each other with the powerful truths found in God's Word. Thank you for joining us today on Bible Answers Now. If this video has encouraged you, be sure to like and subscribe for more uplifting content. And as we close, I ask that God bless you and your loved ones with the strength, peace, and joy that only He can provide. Keep walking in His power, and remember, He is with you every step of the way.